The initial thing we were introduced with General Eisenhower here was Hello everyone, welcome back to Open Arms Reactions. My name's Casper Fox, this is Mortius, and today we're back with more RWBY.
I don't know what that bit was for me, but I am very excited because we are continuing our way through Volume 2 with Chapter 10, which I totally remember the name of, and I'm not desperately clicking through to find, Mountain Glen. And so, it has been a little bit since the last time we watched in the real world, but not too terribly long. What do you remember about where we left things off?
So, Puppy, obviously they come to this abandoned city scouting for Grimm, and they're doing some damage control here with, I forgot what the name of the teacher was, but the really intense one with the glasses who was like super fast.
RWBY.
And he was asking them why they wanted to be in this particular profession, but RWBY was never asked, as far as I remember, right?
No,
yeah,
that was that was kind of a standout thing. I'm also curious, talking about like cultural divides and upbringing, do you know what Oobleck is?
Oobleck? Doesn't ring a bell.
This is going to be kind of like a two-part question. It's going to be, one, do you know like the name I know it by? And then, since the answer is no, I'm still going to define it and see if this is like a part of your childhood too. Did you ever have the material where you like combine like a precise measurement of cornstarch and water, and it makes this like weird material where if you hit it hard, it's like a solid, but if you go slowly, then it's like a liquid?
No, but I've seen that on the internet before.
Okay, so you've seen...
I know of it.
Gotcha. So, Oobleck is the actual name for that, like, material and that sort of weird state of matter. Like, the combination of cornstarch and water is Oobleck. And so, it's the idea that, like, something is going to have different viscosity depending on the force applied to it. And so that's kind of partially why he's, like, so speedy around, because he's, like, really intense, and it fits really well because it's a liquid when you approach it slowly. And I've always loved that for Oobleck because he's always really intense when he's really fast, but then in these episodes we see that when he slows down, he has a much, like, softer teaching side, which actually really fits that. So I think that's really cool. I just wanted to mention that. And I was curious if you had ever made it as a kid. Like, as a kid growing up, that was something I did, like, probably once a year. I was always like, Mom, can we make slime? Which is just, like, the name of it. And most of the time it was no, because it was usually pretty messy, but, like, once a year I'd be like, yeah, like, let's get the materials and, like, do some science experiments with it. And I know a lot of other kids did, too, so I was curious if that was a thing for you. But, yes, that's Oobleck. There's your science lesson for the day. We really got off track in this intro, didn't we? So, thank you all very much for being here. We are very excited. We are going to be hopping into Volume 3 not too long after Volume 2, but that's still a couple episodes away. So, for now, let's just watch Mountain Glen. Woo!
Yoo-hoo! And there it is.
Mountain Glen.
Trouble sleeping?
Arm was acting up.
Of course. So logically, you got out of bed, dressed yourself completely, and decided to gaze menacingly out into the distance.
I love,
true.
Right? He's so extra, but I love Arm was acting up, and then so you decided to get out of bed, fully dress yourself, and blah, 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 blah. But also, Arm was acting up. That's kind of an interesting thing.
The bionic one.
What's wrong?
I can't help but feel like he's keeping us in the dark.
Don't be ridiculous. You know very well that we are not the ones in the dark.
That makes it worse. I refuse to believe that a man I've trusted for so long would act so passively.
You're a good person, James. You've always done what you think is best for the people, even against strong protest. It's admirable. But it's high time you stopped talking about trust and started showing it. Ozpin has experience that the rest of us lack, and I think that's something worth remembering.
I know, right? I was seeing a lot of thoughts going through your head in that time.
Yeah.
I also forgot to turn on the caption, so if you missed anything, we can go back. I know that was a lot of, like, sort of subdued dialogue, and one of the only big critiques I have that, like, I feel like was not related to just their budget and things like that, as I don't think their audio mixing was great in the early volumes either. Honestly, it kind of continues. A lot of the time, the dialogue is not as high in the mix as it needs to be, but that's a nitpick.
Right. I mean, I'm just getting, like, I'm kind of getting, because, like, the initial thing we were introduced with General Eisenhower here was that question. General Eisenhower, where does that a reference to?
Eisenhower? Dwight?
Do you, like, Dwight what? Because
Eisenhower.
I don't think what is that?
I don't know. Don't make the people know how little history I know. It's gonna make the people judge me.
Well, I think I know it from The Flash. Like, I'm pretty sure the guy who voices Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob, he's like a general in The Flash. I'm pretty sure his name is anyway. The general here, I like that we're giving him a little bit of character depth, because the initial English, the initial the initial, like, when I first saw him, the initial thought I had of him, or whatever, the initial impression I had of him was that he was this, like, stone cold, like, thing, like, yeah, I gotta do my job, and I gotta do it probably because the world relies on me. But here you actually get that he genuinely is a good person who genuinely wants to try to, like, protect his race, almost, like his people, right? Yes. And it's admirable.
I definitely agree, and I do really like that kind of discussion about just like it feels like we're being kept in the dark. We're not the ones in the dark, so, like, clearly whatever they're in on, like, they know something the general public doesn't, and he's saying, well, that's worse, because that means that, like, Ozpin knows these things. Like, I can't believe that this person that I know is being so passive. Like, he's genuinely completely befuddled by Ozpin's decision making here and his passiveness, and it's definitely an interesting level of depth, just like you were saying.
Almost looks like a nest.
Yeah.
He's up high. Boo. Oh, okay.
Blake, are you awake?
Yeah.
That's very sudden.
Why do you think?
Well, I think the sort of idea and implication is, like, like, Yang kind of knew, like, that wasn't Yang waking up, I don't think. That was Yang, like, trying to fall asleep and being unable to because of all the thoughts in her head, and her knowing her teammate well enough to know that Blake was probably experiencing the same thing.
Are you awake?
Yeah.
Why do you think he asked us about being a huntress? Like, what was he trying to say?
Maybe he was just curious.
You think?
No.
Weiss, are you awake?
Of course I'm awake. You two are talking. And I think when I said I wanted to honor my family's name, I meant it. But it's not what you think. I'm not stupid. I'm fully aware of what my father has done with the Schnee Dust Company. Since he took control, our business has operated in a moral gray area.
Interesting.
Which is why I feel the need to make things right.
Okay.
I know, right? And so she's, like, aware of the sins of her father, as we're talking about this, like, theme and necessity of legacy within this show. She knows. She, like, she understands what her father has done. Like, it's really kind of interesting, honestly. And I really like the way she takes that. And, of course, we still have that continuation of Blake having a big problem, just like that's putting it lightly. Like, even though she's now appreciating Weiss a lot more as a person, she clearly still holds significant history and resentment towards the Schnee Dust Company.
Yeah.
That's putting it lightly.
Which is why I feel the need to make things right. If I had taken a job in Atlas, it wouldn't have changed anything. My father was not the start of our name, and I refuse to let him be the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Admirable.
I know, right?
I fought for what I thought was right. I had a partner named Adam,
Oh.
actually. He always assured me that what we were doing would make the world a better place. But of course, his idea of a perfect future turned out to be not perfect for everyone. I joined the academy because I knew huntsmen and huntresses were regarded as the most noble warriors in the world, always fighting for good. But I never really thought past that. When I leave the academy, how can I undo so many years of hate?
It's heavy.
Wow, we're getting a lot of character depth.
A lot of character depth,
yeah.
and showing just how, like, not only character depth and characterization, but, like, really learning just how, like, how much they have going on in their head. Like, these are children, and they are tortured by things much larger than themselves, you know? It's
But then
definitely
again,
interesting.
But choosing this career path, you don't have the time to be children in a sense. Like you
Yeah.
kind of like you're signing your soul away essentially, but for the greater good. So
Yeah.
in that sense, that's probably comforting. But yeah.
How can I undo so many years of hate?
I'm sure you'll figure it out. You're not one to back down from a challenge, Blake.
But I am. I do it all the time. When you learned I was a faunus, I didn't know what to do, so I ran. When I realized my oldest partner had become a monster, I ran. Even my semblance. I was born with the ability to leave behind a shadow of myself. An empty copy that takes the hit while I run away.
Interesting.
Right?
That's a very good analogy. Yeah. Wow.
Right? I've
Yeah.
always loved that line. That feels like it informs Blake's character so much. And, like, it really leans into something that we don't, like, really dive into until the future. So, like, the tiniest bit of, like, a spoiler in regards to something you have already theorized, I am going to kind of confirm is going to be true, but not something we haven't already talked about. But just the fact that their semblances are connected in some way to who they are. Like, as these things,
Makes
as
sense.
they are manifestations of their soul, you kind of talked about
Right.
Yang being very hot-headed, RWBY being kind of quick and agile and always going from thing to thing to thing to thing. Like, this kind of is leaning towards that a little more, and spoiler alert, it gets even more directly confirmed in future volumes, but it's really cool how this kind of, like, is shown in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, it's so heavy and
very
so pretty. And just like when I learned my oldest partner had become a monster, I ran. Like, everything about it. Like, clearly she's so torn up about what happened with Adam. Even in the trailer, it almost seemed like she was making that decision with confidence, but she really isn't.
And
she was just running from something she didn't know how to handle.
it quite honestly, I'm very interested to see what Yang is going to say now, because Yang is connected to RWBY, and we get a little bit maybe more in depth of like maybe some parent lore or something like that, other than the uncle. So yeah, I'm interested to hear.
At least you two have something that drives you. I've just kind of always gone with the flow, you know? And that's fine. I mean, that's who I am. But how long can I really do that for? I want to be a huntress, not really because I want to be a hero, but because I want the adventure. I want a life where I won't know what tomorrow will bring, and that'll be a good thing. Being a huntress just happens to line up with that. I'm not like RWBY. She's always wanted to be a huntress. It's like she said, ever since she was a kid, she dreamt about being the heroes in the books, helping people and saving the day, and never asking for anything else in return. Even when she couldn't fight, she knew that's what she wanted to do. That's why she trained so hard to get where she is today.
Well, she's still just a kid.
She's only 2 years younger.
Yes,
We're
about to
all
say.
kids.
I mean, they're both right to an extent. Like, even thinking back to, like, a level of mentorship, like, when I was in high school and, like, I was a senior and the freshman class came in. Like, it is still a very different level of development. Like, the 15 to 17 is still significant. So, like, why saying she's still a kid as if she's not is silly, but also still being like, yeah, but, like, she's so much below where we are, because those are two pretty significant years. Like, even working with the high schoolers I work with, or when I was in high school, like, there's a big difference between 15 and 17 when push actually comes to shove. So, like, I do get what she's saying, even if Blake is also right.
Yeah, I guess. And notice how quickly it got turned away from. I don't really know what I wanted, but here's like the fucking entire pre-story to my sister. Like, that's kind of, it's not interesting that she doesn't want to like
deflecting.
Like, yeah, she puts it. Yeah, very much. Yeah.
You mean like turning the emotional hits she's taking into something for someone else?
Hey.
Well, not anymore. I mean, look where we are. In the middle of a war zone and armed to the teeth.
It's the life we chose.
It's
exactly what you just said.
We all had this romanticized vision of being a huntress in our heads. But at the end of the day, it's a job to protect the people. And whatever we want will have to come second.
Oh.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is definitely interesting, having it be like, because in this world where there are bounty boards, there are schools designed to teach you this, just like career schools would be in the real world. Like, it is so interesting to have this world where being the hero of legend is a job title. It's a like it's definitely like, talk about that romanticized version versus just a job. It's very interesting. Best character. What do you hear, buddy?
That's why it's late. Go back to bed.
Me with Kara all the time.
Why?
He's ready to go off on his side quest. Episode 11, Zwai's adventure.
Oh, Yang's starting standing guard. And Yang doesn't give it. Okay.
Zwei, where are you? Zwei!
Oh my god.
Zwei, this is a wasteland. You literally could have done that anywhere.
You want give my boy some privacy. Oh fuck. That's not the Grim. They don't talk.
I thought I heard a Beowulf.
Oh.
Let's just finish our patrol and get back to base.
I know, right?
Base.
So confirmation that the team was right about a base being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of speculating that last recording session. I don't know how specifically you remember, but yeah.
I do, yeah.
Cool.
I mean, that's the whole entire reason they're doing recon, no?
Exactly,
like,
yes.
So, yeah, okay, cool. Because, yeah, okay. I hope that RWBY is smart enough to go back, but she might also just be like, oh no, I can't lose them. I have to follow them back to base.
Exactly, that's the thing of, like, they haven't seen anyone yet. Like, would it still be smarter to try and get them? Hopefully, especially, I've definitely seen some discussions about, like, with her semblance, could she not have come back and gotten back in time? Because that's literally like her whole gimmick. But ignoring the possibility of semblance, it is understandable to be like, I can't not have my eyes on them just in case.
And we...
You're doing great, Zwei.
Yeah. Pubber. Oh shit.
That means yes.
Zwai's perfect.
Oh man.
Low signal on my iPhone, bro.
And so her plan was to follow them and then call the others at least.
Right.
But not considering the fact that they were so far away from the main kingdom, they probably didn't actually create functional communication at Mountain Glen before it got overrun. So
We gotta get
makes sense.
We gotta get the others, see?
Huh?
Oh, your weapon. Okay. Poor doggy. Oh, Zwei. Oh, that's not good. And she has no weapon.
And she's
She's
no weapon.
fucked.
But where is
I mean,
she?
she's still fast, semblance.
Freeze! Where does she come from?
Top.
You're a long way from home, little
Use your speed, Ruby. Yeah, unlucky.
Hey, hands off!
Canceled.
Ouch.
The boss is gonna want to see this one.
We'll say,
my
as
God,
unfortunate
okay.
as that is, props to her for like really she doesn't have her weapon and just being like, all right, and gut punching the dude. Like
But-
it didn't work out great for her because she's not used to fighting that way. But
Is she unable to use her semblance without her weapon?
good question.
Because that's weird. Because, like, you can literally speed through these motherfuckers. Like, why? Yeah,
It's fair. I get what you're saying.
we'll see.
Hey, Weiss. It's your... Ruby? Hey,
Sure, Ruby.
where's Ruby?
What?
Zwei?
Hey.
What's going on?
Grab your weapons. Your leader may be in trouble.
Oh, shit.
I love the dun 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 happening in the background. It's such an intense musical scape.
What are you trying to do? Blow us to the moon?
What the f...
She found the base.
Found something you might want to see. Is it good or bad?
Now, which one of them are boss?
Let me tell you, I have had a day.
Roman.
It's a little girl? That would be bad.
Ruby Scythe!
Oh no.
Do you think she fell?
Val!
Down there.
Oh my. Of course. Of course, of course, of course!
What is it?
How could I be
The base was underneath them.
Like, what's wrong?
Mountain Glen! Yes, an expansion of Vale that was inevitably destroyed by creatures of Grimm, previously home to thousands of people, working people commuting to the city, the main city, developed a subway system to the inner city. Grimm's attacks increase, population in danger, now desperately searching for shelter. City evacuates into metro tunnels, and what do they find? The southeast quadrant of Vale is known for wild forests and deep caves.
Duck, what are you saying?
My dear, we're not just looking for an underground crime network. We're looking for an underground crime network.
Been working?
Oh, he's great. He's
My
fantastic.
dear, we're not looking for an underground crime network. We're looking for an underground crime network.
Hell yeah.
Love Oobleck so much.
Jesus.
And the fact, like, once he ran out of like, he's so used to talking to the four of them, and he was like, telling this to Blake, telling this to Weiss, telling this to Yang. And then you see him, like, look for Ruby
Zwei.
and then go to Zwei. Like, there's
Zwei.
actually a moment where he looks to the
Best
right of
boy.
Yang and then goes to Zwei instead. It's super cute.
Working in cave?
No, Mountain Glen was Vale's first serious attempt at expansion. It worked for a short period of time, thanks to an aggressive perimeter defense and unique transportation. The city developed an elaborate subway system to carry citizens safely from the new territory into the main kingdom. Sadly, without the many natural barriers Vale had to protect its borders, Mountain Glen was doomed from the start. As the end drew near, the citizens of the territory made one last attempt at survival. They took up shelter beneath the city, in the massive caves that they had cleared out for the subway, and they had cut themselves off from the surface.
An underground village?
In a matter of speaking, yes. A safe haven. Until an explosion opened the mouth of another cavern, filled with subterranean Grimm.
Oh no.
Right? Isn't that a horrifying bit of
sucks.
world building? Like, can you even imagine taking shelter? And also, like, the Grimm are semi-themed so far. Like, you've got, like, bears and stuff in the
Scorpions,
forest.
elephants.
So, like, what
Yeah.
is a subterranean Grimm gonna be?
A fucking mole?
I'll give you a hint.
Worm?
It sucks. It's gross. And I don't like him.
After that,
It's a vacuum.
the kingdom officially sealed off the tunnels, creating the world's largest tomb. If Ruby is down there, we must find her.
Okay, we get a little bit of his weapon there. There's like an umbrella that isn't popped out. Fire.
Well, did you recognize what it was?
It was a thing. No, can you go back? Let me see.
That's his thermos, dude. That's what he's been drinking out of the whole time.
Oh.
His
but wait, and
thermos is his weapon.
that's fire.
So you can see it has like the spout to drink out of there,
Yeah.
and then
It pops out.
extends into like a bow staff.
He's got a club!
Okay.
Yeah, his
Interesting.
weapon is
So-
his thermos when it's untransformed.
What has he been drinking this entire time?
I know,
Ew.
right?
That's
Trust
not
me, there will
ideal.
be even more speculation from that next week when we check out episode 11, which is called, I totally remember, No
Breaks.
So,
wow.
Casper, do you have any final thoughts on this episode before we hop into the next one?
Lots of character building.
Yes.
It seems a little bit of world building, but yeah, basically just conversation on conversation on
Yep.
conversation. So
Relatively
for people seeking
simple.
action, yeah, people seeking action, not much, but I assume we're gonna get a ton here because this is the penultimate episode.
Yes. Good job remembering your vocabulary. So thank you all very
Thank
much
you.
for being here. Thank you to my patrons they're my patrons now.
They are too. They are too. Probably are too. Yeah.
Thank you to our patrons for making videos like this possible. We appreciate you all very much. And as always, greet the world with open arms. Almost said the other outro. And we will see you in the next video. Goodbye.